she spies a looking-glass, for 'tis a portal out through whence the gates of hell do blast. A deadly and foul wind that comes direct from Satan's power. La 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 la.
Blessed morrow to you, Dr. Foreman. I am Mary Payne of 4th Street in Lambeth. I'm come to seek your counsel about my neighbours.
Good morrow, Mistress Payne, and well met. What trouble do your neighbours give you? They play their lutes into the night, perchance? Mayhap a neighbour has cast a malignant spell upon your cabbages.
Why, sir, 'tis no trifling matter. Indeed, 'tis a matter of grave importance. Doubtless you do know we have a Catholic living on 4th Street, a woman by the name of Avis Allen.
Ah, yes. I did hear tell that Mistress Allen subscribes to the Romish faith. But 'tis no crime to be a Catholic, is it, madam? At least, not at present.
Aye, but harbouring a Jesuit priest is, Dr. Foreman. These evenings past, I have spied a man sneaking in and out of the Allens' house. 'Tis my reckoning the man is a priest who is going hither and thither all over Lambeth to perform the Catholic Mass and take confessions. Doubtless Mr. Allen is hiding him in one of those little cupboards.
You mean to say you think Mr. Allen has installed a priest hole in his house? A secret room hidden behind the wood panelling of a wall?
Indeed I do. I am certain that he has such a hole, and that a priest is going in and out of Mr. Allen's hole from dusk till dawn.
Verily? How troubling. But surely you are mistaken, madam, for under the cover of darkness, how can you be sure the man you did spy was not Mr. Allen himself?
Nay, 'twas not Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen is a fine, tall figure of a man, whereas the figure I did spy was very narrow and malformed in appearance. A scrawny little imp of a man he was.
I see.
Now, you must not think me intolerant, Dr. Foreman. If Mistress Allen must cling to her idolatrous backward beliefs, 'tis her own affair, and I have no wish to cause trouble for the Allens. And 'tis true that Mistress Allen does now attend church on Sundays and takes the English sacrament just as she ought to. But we residents of 4th Street are decent English folk. We will not abide an agent of Rome sneaking around our neighbourhood, muttering incantations in some devilish foreign tongue.
I think you mean Latin, madam.
But before I act upon my suspicions, I think it wise to know if there be any truth in them.
Then let us see what the stars can tell us. Who is this mysterious stranger, and why does he frequent the Allens' house late at night? Ah, 'twould seem the man you saw is a foreigner who's been secreted into the Allen house to aid Mistress Allen with their family difficulties.
Family difficulties? Come, Dr. Foreman, pray speak plain.
Ah, well, as you doubtless know, the Allens have never been blessed with a living child. Mayhap 'tis the belief of Mistress Allen that the seed of a foreigner would prove more powerful than the, demonstrably less successful seed of Mr. Allen.
Then 'tis naught but adultery, fornication with a foreigner. Mistress Allen will pay dearly for such sinning. Her soul will be damned to an afterlife, beset by the exquisite tortures of hell's capricious demons.
Aye, well, according to Scripture, that is technically true.
But to harbour a Jesuit priest is a far greater evil. We must be glad that Mistress Allen commits naught but the sin of adultery, conducted late at night, with a man who gives forth strong foreign seed. You have given me much to think on, Dr. Foreman. Blessed day.
I am glad to have been of service, Mistress Payne.
When the querent does rock a continental frock, when the querent does rock a continental frock, when his Italian flair features or facial hair, 'tis Ferraro. Signor Ferraro.
God give you good day, signor. And how may I assist you?
'Tis I, Riccardo Ferraro, come once again to see the great dottore, Simon Foreman.
So I see. What brings you this day?
I bring myself to you, so you treat my illness. 'Tis very grave.
And, what might this illness be? Perchance we might start with your complaints.
First problem is the laughter that cannot be controlled.
Uncontrollable laughter, you say? I see. Anything else?
Next problem, the dancing that cannot be controlled.
Uncontrollable dancing. And yet, you do not appear to be dancing at present.
What can I say? 'Tis uncontrollable dancing. I cannot control when I dance.
Nay, 'tis a fair point.
Doubtless my disease, whatever it may be, is very rare and very difficult to diagnose. But of course, if it be beyond your medical understanding...
Let me assure you, signor, that whatever is said of us on the continent, the learning of we English doctors is unparalleled. There is no better medical care to be had than in London. Now, let us see whether the stars may tell us something of your unusual and troubling illness. It sounds to me like you're experiencing pain in your stomach.
But how did you know this?
Indeed, methinks you are stricken with a bout of colic. Most doctors do advise upward purging, but I have found the dog cure more efficacious in cases of colic.
The dog cure?
Aye. First you must find a dog lying idle on the ground. On any street in London you will find such a creature. Then you must kick the dog away, lower your breeches, and then make water upon the spot where the dog did lie.
If you say so, Signor Foreman.
If we were not on English soil, of course, I would have said you were bitten by a tarantula. But there be no such spiders in England. Our weather is much too cold for them. Indeed, only an overqualified quack who draws his medical knowledge from books alone would think such a diagnosis appropriate in this case.
Indeed, most ludicrous.
And in truth, the laughing and dancing you are troubled with may doubtless be attributed to your hot-blooded Latin temperament.
Doubtless you speak true, eh? 'Tis but a symptom of my hot Venetian blood. Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day.
Lady feel confined. Mayhap the world is too unkind. Nay, doctor, medicate her mind. Pray cure this comely lady. Pray cure this comely lady.
Good day to you, madam.
Yes. Good day, Mr. Foreman. Pray tell, is your Venetian querent Riccardo Ferraro one of the patients you treat for troubles of the mind? Forsooth, his manner is right strange. I passed him at the door, and when I addressed him in the Italian tongue, he abruptly turned from me and ran away down the street.
Nay, Signor Ferraro has no grave troubles of the mind that I'm aware of. Mayhap he was merely dumbstruck by your beauty, madam.
Dr. Foreman, a man is rarely struck dumb by a woman's beauty. Indeed, 'tis quite the reverse. He is oft rendered all the more loquacious, plaguing her with ill-formed metaphors he believes are compliments, and with hasty declarations and invitations she has neither sought nor invited.
Ah, quite. But let us turn our minds to happier thoughts. I did lately hear of your marriage to your cousin, Mr. Alfonso Lanier, for which I must congratulate you. And as I recall, you were with child when I last saw you.
Aye, I was, as you correctly judged.
And your child and husband are both well, I hope?
I would rather not discourse on the subject of my husband, Dr. Foreman.
As it pleases you, madam. What brings you this day?
Lately I have been feeling heavy and lethargic. I do also find it hard to fix my attention upon the book I am reading or upon words I am composing. And yet, although I oft feel right tired, I am having difficulty sleeping.
Ah, well, becoming a mother, beset with all the demands of a suckling babe, can force change upon the normal rhythms of life.
Nay, 'tis not that, for I have employed a wet nurse for the feeding and much of the care of my son. Methinks I must have some kind of disease.
I see. Let us consult the stars to see what afflicts you. What is ailing Mistress Amelia Lanier? Mistress Lanier, the stars indicate that your suffering is occasioned by melancholy, or, in other words, black bile.
I see. And what treatment can you give me for it?
Before we speak of treating your condition, madam, I think it wise we determine what has provoked it. You did express a desire not to speak of your husband, and I cannot help but think that such a reluctance reveals where the source of your troubles might lie, to wit, within your marriage. Would I be right in thinking this? I do not wish to cause you distress, madam, but as a doctor, I do feel I must press you in case it is relevant to your troubles.
My marriage is not a happy one, Dr. Foreman. Mr. Lanier and I do not agree on matters of money and strong drink.
I see. And what are your opinions on these subjects?
That he spends all our money on strong drink. He disagrees.
And your husband cannot be brought around to see your point of view, nor you his, I presume. Well, the marital discord provoked by strong differences of opinion can oft engender melancholy in a wife. Until the matter is resolved between you, you may take a syrup of roses and chicory. Drink of it each day, and it will serve to reinvigorate your vital spirits. I will also have my manservant William bleed you of some of that excess bile.
I thank ye, Dr. Foreman.
William, come hither and bleed Mistress Lanier.
What is their relation? We are no longer sure. Seems Foreman's now the patient, and Avis is the cure.
Ah, my dear Avis, what a pleasure it is to see you. I have oft thought of our last...
I cannot tarry long. My husband will be expecting me home.
Of course. But, dear lady, is something the matter?
Of course. Do not all your querents come with a matter they wish an answer to?
Well, yes, but...
I wish to ask of the stars whether a man I am close with, a man who is not my husband, whether that man be also close with another woman.
A man you are? I see. Well, if I am to judge the stars for you, I must ask you to be more precise. In what sense do you mean close? The platonic bond of friendship?
Nay, close in the sense of being intimate.
I see. Then 'tis the familial tie of kinship, perchance.
Nay, I mean someone with whom I have shared physical relations.
Verily, madam, if I am to give you an accurate reading, you must state your question clearly.
Methinks you know full well what I ask. I bid you ask the stars whether my lover is, that is to say, be it true that he engages with another woman in acts of strumpy-humpy.
Madam, you astonish me. 'Tis unlike you to speak such indelicate words. Now, if I understand you correctly, you have a lover, and you wish to know whether he has been sharing his tender favours with another woman.
Aye, but did I not verily say so?
And now that we have at last fathomed your question, let us read the stars to fathom an answer. Has Mistress Allen's lover been unfaithful to her? Stars are most clear, madam. Your lover has not been coupling with another woman.
He has not?
Forsooth, the stars say that your mind has been turned by jealousy and confusion. Now, if there is nothing further, madam...
Oh, how relieved I am to hear you say this. Oh, Simon, what a fool I have been not to trust you.
But you... this lover... 'twas me all along? You were not speaking of some other man?
I beseech you, pardon me, Simon. I had to know the truth from the stars, for I did hear tell of other women.
But how could you not see? No other woman is to me so dear, and verily I... Is it not clear to you that I...
Do you verily, Simon?
Oh, my dear, sweet Avis.
Cyril Fortescue always has what's new, far ahead of her friends. She oft gets her hands on goods from foreign lands, that Captain Fortescue sends.
Good morrow, madam. I humbly welcome you to my consulting chambers, and thank you for choosing my practice. Mistress...
Fortescue. Mistress Sybil Fortescue.
Well then, Mistress Fortescue, what may I assist you with this day?
I come upon a most troubling matter, sir. I know not whether it is a medical matter or something else.
I see. Pray describe your trouble to me, madam.
Well, I suppose it all began with a dinner I hosted at my house last even. Mayhap you have heard of my dinners, Dr. Foreman. They are much talked about. Though I fear last evening's dinner will be talked about for all the wrong reasons.
Talked about, you say?
Yes, indeed, invitations to my dinners are much sought after, for I host the most desirable of guests, lords, bishops, poets, explorers, painters, and the like. Why, last eve I hosted the famous Robert Lord Devereux, the playwright William Shakespeare, and the Bishop of London and his wife. As well as fascinating conversation, at my table I serve the very latest and most original dishes. Last even, I served an exotic green vegetable called a portato, So crisp and refreshing. My dear husband sent them home to me from the New World. Doubtless you have heard of my husband, Captain Fortescue. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh.
I see. Your dinners do sound most excellent, Mistress Fortescue. But what occurred at last eve's dinner that has you so distressed?
Well, in truth, 'twas after dinner. We all felt a strong desire to take some air, and so we left the table to take a turn in some pleasure gardens nearby. But then, as we were walking along the path, right in the middle of the gardens, in full public view...
Pray do not distress yourself, madam. Prithee, take your time.
My guests and I were, all of a sudden, stricken with pain. We began chundering and voiding from our... But there was nowhere to turn, you see. There were no bushes close by to shield our modesty. 'Twas unspeakable.
A moment, madam, as I note this down. Abdominal pain and simultaneous upward and downward purging of a most sudden and violent nature. Now, let us see how these stars explain this most distressing and unsavoury event. What troubled Mistress Sybil Fortescue and her guests last eve? Madam, I think you said the New World vegetables you dined upon were green in colour, did you not? And you described them as crisp and refreshing, I think. I take it then that you served them to your guests green and raw?
Yes, indeed. Most of the potatoes my husband sent me were full dull and unhealthsome in appearance. Hence I served only the green ones. I had my cook cut them in such a way as to resemble roses. 'Tis the way I oft serve my apples.
Ah, then your trouble was a severe case of evil digestion. I have read that these vegetables can be noxious if they turn green.
Oh, my days! Do you mean I poisoned my guests?
In a manner of speaking, aye. But worry not, madam, for the suffering was but temporary. Indeed, it does sound as if the bodies of your guests were most comprehensively purged of the poison. However, in future be sure to cook the potatoes until they are soft, and pray do not eat the ones that have turned green.
As God shall mend me! What a shameful affair this has been! I shall go home and, well, I shall write to my husband and ask that he includes cooking instructions with the next gift of food that he sends me. I thank ye and bid ye good day, Dr. Foreman.
Here comes a literary mind, one such as we do rarely find. Just needs a man to be behind, for she's but a lady.
Good even, Miss Lanier. What brings you?
I am come about my future, Dr. Foreman. I wish to know whether I will find success as a writer of poems and plays. You can predict futures, can you not?
You, madam? A writer of poems and of plays? Forsooth, how verily remarkable!
Well, 'tis true most of us Bassanos and Laniers are musicians, but I have chosen a different path. I've lately begun a collaboration with a poet and playwright. Let us call him Mr. S. He is presently writing a play that takes place in northern Italy, and as I am of Italian heritage, he has asked me to help him write it.
How interesting! And does this collaboration betwixt you go well?
Right well, or so methinks. Indeed, Mr. S. did suggest that I am full talented as a writer. Be not afraid of greatness, he told me. For once our play opens upon the London stage, our success will follow, as night follows day.
I see. Then what would you have me ask the stars, madam?
Well, I've noted that Mr. S., although a brilliant man, is oft prone to exaggerated melodrama and implausible plot resolutions. I wish to know whether this story of his, of our future success, is true.
Very wise of you, madam. Then let us see whether your success or failure is writ in the stars. Will Mistress Amelia Lanier find fame and fortune as a writer? Madam, the stars tell of a great deceit against you. They suggest that your collaboration with Mr. S puts you at risk of, let me see here, creative domination and theft. The result being that you will reap little from your collaboration with Mr. S but feelings of bitterness and jealousy.
I cannot believe this of Mr. S. He is a right honourable man. I cannot believe such compelling insights into the human condition could be writ by such a knave as you describe. To be sure, he does oft indulge in wordplay for its own sake, thus cheapening and unnecessarily prolonging a scene, but nay, he is not a bad man. I know you mean well, Dr. Foreman, but I believe your judgment of the stars must be wrong on this occasion.
Mistress Avis Allen, the love of Foreman's life, how futile 'tis to fall for another man's wife.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, madam.
For me? None. None at all.
Verily. Then I cannot fathom why you...
'Twas my husband who bade me come, for he finds it difficult to speak of... As I say, he had me come in his stead, and I could think of no reason to give him for why I should not come.
I see. Then what is troubling your husband? Madam, I cannot treat a querent without knowing first what his troubles are.
He is unable to perform his marital duties.
I see, and whatever does that mean? Your husband forgets to put out the night soil? Some broken shelving he has neglected to fix? Prithee, madam, I bid you be more precise.
Oh, you know perfectly well what I mean, Simon. I bid you not drag this out any longer. Pray read the stars and let us get this over with.
As you wish, madam. Now, let us see. What ails Mr. Allen so as to render him unable to perform his marital obligations towards Mistress Allen? It would seem your husband is suffering from a crick in the back. The crick is in the lower part of the back where it is troubling his hips. With such an affliction, 'twould be most difficult to, say, re-thatch a roof, or whatever other chores you would have your husband perform around the house.
I said nothing about chores, as you well know, Simon. 'Tis his duties to his wife I was speaking of.
Well, doubtless his back...
Mr. Allen's hips are perfectly well. Forsooth, I wish he had not bid me come to see you. I knew you would try to vex me in this manner. You always... Why must you...
Verily, Avis, oftentimes you are quite unfathomable. I merely...
Hand me, Simon.